Hey everyone, TJ here, flying solo, and this particular segment I titled The Lamentations of a Never Trumper. What we got is a woman by the name of Maureen Dowd, Republican political insider in D.C., and she's having a hissy fit. She's a never Trumper. And she's having a hissy fit that the Democrats did not take out President Donald Trump. And she, just a few days ago, wrote a political commentary. And she titled it, "Revenge is not business for Trump, it's strictly personal." Then she subtitled it, "Democrats should be terrified as the president reenacts the Godfather payback scenes." And obviously she's referring to President Donald Trump as the Godfather. Like I said already, she's having a hissy fit, and I'll just tell you right now up front, I took some perverse satisfaction in her unhappiness, her misery, and I'm going to share a bit of her commentary with you. And, by all means, feel free to share your thoughts with me. She begins her commentary with, "Democrats, the only thing you have to fear is Trump himself." And if you know anything about history, that's she's referring to a line from FDR the day after Pearl Harbor Day. The only thing we have to fear is fear itself. But so she takes and modifies it to the only thing you have to fear is Trump himself. She continues, "Our unhinged monarch," and she's referring to President Donald Trump as a monarch, "our unhinged monarch had a very good week, and your party had a very bad week." She's obviously addressing Democrats. "A lot of you told me, with expletives, that while you were watching President Donald Trump's carnival barking this past week, you were thinking, we are going to freaking lose." Well, hopefully that's the case, and good. She continues, "There has always been political theater. Now there's Trump political theater, as he perfects the black art of turning Democrats into mincemeat." So now when you defeat the Democrats, it can be referred to as black art. Beating the Dems is black art. She continues, "What could be more flamboyantly offensive than the anti-bullying advocate Melania," as in President Trump's wife, "hanging a Medal of Freedom around the neck of one of the biggest bullies and hate preachers of all time, Rush Limbaugh." It was at this point in this commentary I determined to myself, this has got to be a segment. She's not only is she taking shots at President Trump, but she's gonna do a swipe at Rush Limbaugh. She's calling him the biggest bully and hate preacher of all time. She continues, and the president even finally managed to send his classy nemesis Nancy Pelosi over the edge. Classy nemesis. Maureen Dowd thinks Nancy Pelosi is classy. Well, I sure don't. Let's see. As she became so agitated that she was driven to Trumpian tactics. Obviously, we're going to refer to the ripping of the speech. "He has forged one of the most cynical, darkly productive alliances of all time with the poker-faced Mitch McConnell." So now she's going to take a swipe at Mitch McConnell for working with President Donald Trump. She's calling him poker-faced, and To be honest, his stock with me probably just went up a little. She continues to opine, Iowa was a master class in Democratic dysfunction. Gee, you think? The disarray kicked off the Saturday before the vote when the all-important Des Moines Register poll crashed and burned. Further down she writes, on the night of the vote, I went to a high school on the edge of Des Moines to watch the Iowans caucus. The caucuses have always been a bit screwy under the rubric of quaint, with people offering chocolates for votes and doing coin tosses to make final decisions. So Ms. Dowd would dictate to those in Iowa how to run their political affairs. Clearly she knows better, I guess. She continues, as the Republicans stuck together, ruled by fear and self-interest, the Democrats shattered apart. By the time I got to New Hampshire, the Democratic hysteria was rising, and a faltering Joe Biden disappeared in a crisis cloud. Well, that's fine with me. Pete Buttigieg was pre-declaring victory, spurring Bernie Sanders supporters to dub him Mayor Cheat. Well, I guess that works for me. Page 2. James Carville. He went on a viral rant. Ms. Dowd referenced to this viral rant of his. James Carville is reported to have been on television screaming how he's scared to death, which is fine with me. He ought to be. And then he also said, let's get relevant here, people, for sure. Do we want to be an ideological cult? Mr. Carville, you've been one of the main people driving the Democrat Party to this current state of theirs. You ought to be proud of yourself, I say. A Democrat insider in D.C. is quoted as saying Donald Trump is narrowcasting to African Americans and Latinos with a Super Bowl ad, and to the State of the Union, and the economy's doing well. And meanwhile, we're fiddling around with a socialist, obviously that's Bernie Sanders, and Encyclopedia Brown. Forgive me, but I don't know who he's referencing to there. Perhaps someone could inform me. Ms. Dowd further opines, Trump began acting out right after his acquittal. He launched a revenge mission accusing Pelosi of a Xerox felony, if you recall, ripping up the State of the Union. She refers to it as the rip heard round the world. She accuses Gordon Sondland, the ambassador to the European Union. She refers to him as a bumbling ambassador. She could be right on that one. She's disheartened at the way Lieutenant Colonel 05 Alexander Say Can You See Vindman, along with his twin brother, were perp walked out of the White House. Now, let me tell you something. A whole lot more of them need to be perp walked out of the White House. And she ends with, Democrats should be scared to death watching the president play to thuggish type, reenacting the chilling final payback scenes of the Godfather when Michael Corleone took out all his enemies. It's not business, it's strictly personal. So there you have it. The lamentations of a never-Trumper. The hissy fit of Maureen Dowd. Upset how the Democrats could not take out President Donald Trump. Typical condescension of this whole D.C. cabal, whether they be Republican or Democrat. And to Maureen Dowd, this is what happens when you try to remove a duly elected president, when the mechanism of that effort is a hoax. So, Ms. Dowd, get over it. Hit the road. And as I always end, This is TJ signing off. Be safe. Watch your six. And Ms. Dowd, don't tread on me.